Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
As athlete and adventurer Nico Mermaud said, radical change often comes about in trying to solve a simple problem. And his simple problem? Making running easier, specifically running in the French Alps, downhill. In solving that problem, he founded a product that's graced the tootsies of casual runners, on-the-go moms, fashionistas, and celebrities like Britney Spears, Harry Styles, and many more. To get that kind of attention, the shoes must be chic and stylish, worthy of a $150 price tag, right? Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and these shoes have also been described as clown shoes, hideous, Walmart grandpa shoes from hell. And it's not just the fashion conscious, they're also loved by podiatrists, restaurant staff, healthcare workers, and yes, grandpas. How can one shoe have fans in both Kylie Jenner and my 75-year-old father-in-law, John Neer? By bridging the gap between comfort and bold maximalist style. A bridge worth billions. And that's why this week's On Brand is on HOKA.
We're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Hello and welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa. Jon, I have a brand rave plus a humiliation to share, may I?
I would love to hear you humiliate yourself because I feel like we're on episode 40 and I've humiliated myself about 90 times.
So I placed an order from oldnavy.com, a place I don't typically shop. Do you do Old Navy? Are you an Old Navy guy? Get yourself a polar fleece.
I do Old Navy with licensed goods. The Keith Haring heart shirt that I was wearing last week for the Valentine episode was Old Navy.
Oh.
And I got it for $9.99.
Wow.
Like, you can find... Old Navy has its place. It's not my go-to for everything, but yeah, I'll get Old Navy.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe they have like a little Peanuts collab or a little...
Absolutely. Peanuts, a Diet Coke, not a Stranger Things. I don't want a Stranger Things shirt. But like maybe a Star Wars. I feel like I'm done with Star Wars.
Oh my God.
Not in the, like, I love Star Wars, but I don't feel like I got to run out and get a Luke
Baby
Skywalker.
Yoda plushie.
Yeah. I don't need that.
I gotta say, Baby Yoda should be on Time Magazine for Person of the Year. I'm seeing Baby Yoda everywhere.
Hey, he hasn't been Baby Yoda in 2 years. It's Grogu. That's how much you don't know. He has a name now.
As far as Old Navy shoppers know, it's Baby Yoda. Let's just say.
Everyone knows it's Grogu. So no, let's get to it.
So
how did you humiliate yourself?
So I was shopping at Old Navy online, oldnavy.com. They sucked me in with some of their targeted advertising, and I'm a sucker. And you know what? For me, the best purpose of Instagram is targeted advertising. I feel like that does make it very easy to shop, find things at Old Navy that I maybe wouldn't normally go for.
Can I interrupt about targeted shopping really quick?
Yeah.
I agree. I get Old Navy and The Gap in my Facebook feed all the time, but a lot of it's old directed advertising. Like, it'll be a thing and I'll click on it. Oh yeah, I like that. It's already sold out. Like,
weird.
It doesn't update all the time. So I do feel like there's some flaws in that. But I do what I like about Old Navy is that whole brand of family of brands, the Gap, Banana Republic and Old Navy, you can go to one website and there's just a tab for each store. They make it very convenient to shop across the brands, which I think is great.
Yes, and I had a Gap online account, and when I was shopping at Old Navy, when it was time to check out, they were like, come on in, baby. We know your login. We know your credit card.
We have all your info.
I felt very nurtured by that. But the dumb thing that I did was I accidentally had my order shipped to a previous address, a place I have not lived in 17 years.
Wait, I've been friends with you for 2 of your addresses, and I've been friends with you for 15 years. So this goes,
you've been friends with me for longer than 15 years.
We met in 2000.
Because David and I have been together for 15 years.
We met in 2007.
Yeah, it's a long
17,
time.
18, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4.
Hold for
17
math.
years. 17 years.
So
this was
yes.
right before we met, probably. It was on Franklin.
No, even before that.
Oh my God.
Russell.
Okay, so you had this in your account.
I had this in my account. This was from like deep in the archives of my Gap shopping. I don't know how I clicked it. When people like get annoyed when they like remind you, like, are you sure this is your billing address? Are you sure this is your shipping? Like, I need the reminders because I have like 15 things going on. My house is crazy. If I have 2 seconds to peel away and like place an order for some like wide leg crops, like all hell is breaking loose in my home with these 2 kids.
Yeah.
So I was distracted.
Yeah.
And I had them shipped to this place I haven't lived at in 17 years. And I was so excited to get new pants because I have like no pants. And I'm watching them. You know when you're so excited and you're like following it day by day, you're like, there's an estimated delivery. It's like, they'll be there Thursday. And then I like follow up on like Tuesday and I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure the mail driver didn't drive like extra fast?
or I'm the opposite. I'll be like, wait, it's in Idaho? You can get here in 2 days? I couldn't get here in 2 days from Idaho.
They're not traveling by foot.
I know. I usually, if there is an option, I will always do text updates. So it's like,
fun.
your package is now here. I follow packages all the time.
Ooh,
One of my
fun.
favorite things to do.
One of your favorite things
One
to
of
do
my
is follow packages.
Favorite things to do in the world as a single gay man is to track my packages.
Honey, that was me because I was following this package from Old Navy so excited.
Yeah.
And then I realized the address it was going to was on Russell Ave, where I have not lived, as I mentioned, in 17 years. And my heart sank. And so I'm racing to UPS, my choice. Can I reroute? Oh, it has already been distributed transferred to my local post office.
Yeah.
So it's in the mail carrier's hands. Once it's in the mail carrier's hands, there's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do.
So the day arrives where it's said to be delivered, and I make a bold move. Out of character for me, I showed up.
You showed up at the house waiting for it to be delivered?
I showed up the evening that it was delivered.
Oh, it had already been delivered.
It had already been delivered, and assuming it had been delivered a few hours prior, and I'm not somebody to knock on a door unsolicited.
No, I am. You are not.
Maybe you're rubbing off on me.
I'm shocked that this isn't my story. What I wish you had really done is been pantless, took over a lawn chair, and just sat over there all day waiting for it to show up.
Say, there's one way to get me to go. Give me pants.
Just give me the pants.
So I show up, I knock on the door. It's about 7 p.m., so it's kind of late. I just happened to be on that side of town. I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So 7 p.m., the sun is down. We are deep into dinner time.
Oh, God.
I knock on the door. A woman answers.
Wearing your pants?
Not wearing my pants. I wish.
God, I wish. She's like eating a big floppy slice of pizza and she has these brand new Old Navy pants on.
She said she just got off work, so she was not very familiar with any mail that had arrived that day. She did like kind of I don't want to say she kind of fake looked around the porch, but she didn't scour. Okay. She
Was
didn't
it a
like
big porch?
It was a medium porch, maybe 7 feet wide.
Anything like furniture on it?
A chair, stool, an ottoman. There was an Amazon package on the steps. And she was like, well, all that I have is that Amazon package. So she kind of used that as like a scapegoat. Like, I clearly haven't been out here because, look, there's, as you can see, clear as day, there's an Amazon package. But I know it was delivered USPS.
Right.
And it could fit in the mailbox.
Oh, right.
So I start saying, well, is it in the mailbox? I press a little bit further.
I mean, you're already there. You may as well go all in.
She's giving me nothing.
Did she check the mailbox?
She did some half-hearted glances. I don't know where. She didn't like say, like, walk with me. Let's go check the mailbox. She was giving me nothing. She's like, I just got home. I don't know. Not giving me much. And I said, well, at gmail.com is my email. If it turns up, can you email me? I don't think I've ever had a package say delivered and it's like not there.
Right.
That's very rarely happened to me. And this is like an enclosed patio. This is not a place where like maybe theft would be an issue.
Right.
So the odds are that my one time that's ever happened is when I like had it sent. I don't know. I think she lied.
There have been a couple of times where I don't know which, it might be FedEx, where I will get a thing saying it's delivered and it just gets marked at a different point before it's actually at my house, and then it shows up the next day.
So giving her the benefit of the doubt, maybe it did go missing. I go to oldnavy.com and I say, well, let's see what they can do to make this right.
What exactly are you wanting them to make right? They took your order and they delivered it to where you asked them to put it.
Yes.
So you want them to now fix this.
I toyed with lying, but I decided to just come clean and hopefully they would take pity on me. So it was a very friendly customer service rep who was very sympathetic. I didn't really follow up with too many questions like, well, was this your mistake? No, there was none of that. It was just like, great, we'll make it right. I'm going to refund the money to your account. I can't process an order over the chat, but you can replace the order. And then here's the case number. Follow up with another chat person because I had gotten it extra 30% off. I'm copying, pasting. I'm hacking into the mainframe to get all this information, get this chatbot, get everything squared away. I feel so satisfied. I'm I did it. That could have just been something I was too busy for. And I just am oh man, that's a bummer. But I lost my $50 worth of pants and tops and whatever. I'll just call it a day. But I did it. I made it right and I corrected it and I made a new order. And I also sent it to my old address.
What? What?
Oh, God.
You just blanked?
I did the exact same thing again. It was pre-filled. My house was crazy. It was loud. I'm okay, copy, paste. Here's the claim number. Okay, great. So you were able to reimburse me for the sale, the discount. Great. Process, place order. A few days pass and I'm man, I'm so excited. I wonder where my pants are. And I pulled up on my email and it's they're going to Russell Ave, where you lived 17 years ago.
This woman is so loving her life right now. She's I've had a rough couple of years, but now every 8 days I get a package of pants from Old Navy.
Of identical pants.
Identical pants.
So I'm trying to think her thought process. So she sees another package from Old Navy arrive. Say she decided to keep the first one. She's everybody's out for themselves. The economy is rough. I'm keeping these pants. Another package arrives. The same pants, the same tank top, the same t-shirt, the same 2 pairs of pants. Here's a chance for her to clear her conscience,
right.
I think.
Yes.
Because she can keep the other one, pretend she didn't steal it, and then get this second package and say, Marissa Pinson, a package arrived for you from Old Navy. Would you like to come and claim it? The package was delivered on Thursday, and I have not heard a peep. So this bitch on the other side of town has 4 pairs of my pants, 2 tank tops, and 2 t-shirts.
One, she doesn't sound like someone that kept your email address. So there's probably no way for her to get a hold of you.
If she got the package, she could search it. She could find me very easily on Instagram. If she wants to be a hero, maybe she's listening to the pod now and she's having a change of heart. It's on me that I had it misdelivered a second time.
It's insane. I honestly feel like I'm more on her side than your side because that's insane.
This is the question. Do I go back to oldnavy.com and try again?
No, you go back to Russell. You go back to that house and just see what happens and film it for content for the on-brand Insta.
I'm sweating. I'm dying.
I'm sweating. Ugh. That's so ridiculous.
It's so stressful. I swear, if you had seen me when I opened my tracking and I saw that, I think I audibly was oh God, no, not again. No.
I just love that we've gotten so in the habit of showing all the ridiculous, stupid things I do. I love when everyone can see that you also flub a little bit.
That's what's so humiliating. I didn't even tell my husband. I told him, I said, I reordered the pants. I said, it went so well. They're coming. I got all my money back. I paid the same discount. And now they're coming in the mail. And that's the last he's heard about it.
Babe, just go to the store. It's 2 miles away. It's a straight shot down the street.
I'll find some way to mix it up. I'll put them in a different car. I don't know.
God.
Let's move on. I'm humiliated. Jon, let's move on.
All right. Well, when you were telling that story, it reminded me of something that I had completely forgotten about, which this isn't humiliating, but when you were talking about chat customer service.
Yes.
One day I was very bored and I was just surfing the web and I was looking at stores. I was looking at westelm.com and they're need a consultant for your house? Give us a chat. And I was okay. And so I just start chatting with West Elm. And if any of you that don't know, I live in a very small apartment.
Well, and small, you have to clarify, LA small is different than Ohio small. You live in how many square feet?
380 square feet.
That's
so
very
I have
small.
a 9-foot by 9-foot living room. But it's bigger than New York, smaller than Ohio. Mm-hmm. But it's a small place. I've been there forever. It's fully decorated. I don't need anything.
You certainly don't need a design consultant.
I don't need a design consultant. But long story short, I start chatting with her. I'm like, I'm looking for a change. I just don't know what to do with my space. And she's like, do you have a picture of the space you want to do? And I just started pulling pictures from hoarders. Just rooms with piles and piles of stuff with like a sad person like sitting in the middle of it. I was like, well, this is the living room. And she's like, well, for a minute you could tell that she was like, okay, this sucks.
It has nice light.
Right. I think maybe you might want to try the San Diego lamp in beige. And she tried for a few chats to stick with it, but then after a while she's like, are you pranking me? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just kept sending worse and worse pictures. But that's how I killed some time on a boring afternoon. It was a lot of fun.
It's nice to know that no matter how bored or lonely you are, you can always find a friend.
Yeah.
In a customer service rep via chat.
Yeah, you really can.
I wonder if anyone's ever fallen in love via customer service chat.
Oh, I'm sure. And if they're a brand freak, reach out to us on Instagram and let us know your love story.
I'm always trying to make them fall in love with me by being like so nice and grateful for their help.
Weird.
I'll be like, thank
You're
you
married.
so much.
Thank you so much. You have no idea. No,
Man or woman, I just am a people pleaser.
I'm always surprised when I have a question for a library and they all have chats and there's just always a librarian at my avail.
Well, you have a librarian at your fingertips?
Every library. You go to any library website, it's like chat with a librarian. I've done it like 3 times in the last month.
What are you chatting with librarians about?
I have to find things for my job at libraries. So like I'll be in like a Texas library and I'll be like, hey, and then there's just always a librarian.
You're like going national, like a Texas library?
Yeah. You think I just get every documentary I work on, I find it at the Los Feliz library?
God. Well, I mean, talk about a love story. You and a Texas librarian?
Oh, God. And we get married to that new Beyonce song. Can we talk for a second about how good the new Beyonce song is?
I watched a video of 2 tap dancing twins tap dance to it. And
tap dance? They weren't doing the hoedown dance?
They were. It was probably like a hoedown inspired tap dance. They had cowboy hats and stuff.
That's the big like TikTok trend right now.
It's really cute.
All right. So I just learned what your brand is. You have mentioned these shoes before. This is probably the brand I know least about of every brand we've done so far.
It is always so funny to me because you have such a keen eye for brands and like relevancy and like pop culture. Yet I feel like if you can see in your peripheral that something is not for you, you create like a permanent blind spot for it. It's just like dead. So no matter how many Hokas you're seeing on the street, your brain is erasing them. You have like Terminator goggles and you just like don't see them.
I think it's a combination of that. I will agree with that. And I'm also not a big shoe person in the same way.
I mean, I feel like in an episode I asked you how many pairs of shoes you had and it was like 250.
No, I have like 80, but
that's a lot of shoes.
You didn't let me finish my thought. I am not a shoe person in the same way I'm not a car person. I love my Volkswagen. I've always driven a Volkswagen. Shoes, I like Converse, I like Camper, certain things, and I will always buy those. And if they make a bunch that I like, I'll buy a ton of them. But I don't like 90% of the shoes out there. I don't like 90% of the cars out there.
You don't like 90% of cars or shoes?
Yeah.
What's ugly about most cars and shoes? Cars kind of look like shoes.
I love that you say that because to me, they're very similar. If you look at like an 80s shoe and it was just like a cool, simple shoe, good materials, basic, I love those. Same with cars. They've gotten so designed over the years. They keep getting little like angles and splashes and zips and zops and this and that. And it's like
you want a simple shoe with the In-N-Out logo screen printed all over it.
I've grown to love my In-N-Out shoes because they're a simple slip-on. It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode. I forget which one it even was, but George kept saying something like, you guys and your complicated shoes. Like, that's what I feel like. They're just too much. And I have friends, my friend Maria, like collect shoes. And it's probably similar to how some people see my swatches. I'm like, I got a new swatch. They're like, that looks like every other swatch I've ever seen you have. That's how I feel about Maria's shoes. She's like, look at these cool shoes. I'm like, those look like every shoe you have. It's just not what I'm into. I literally just had to look up this brand while you were doing the cold open. No offense to anyone that wears them. They're an ugly shoe. And I see why it's a controversial thing. When you're reading it, it's like, is she doing Crocs? But no, they do look like ugly clown shoes. I'm sure they're very comfortable. I've seen a podiatrist before. Any shoe that a podiatrist is on board with is an ugly shoe. They do not care what you are wearing. They just want it to be good for your foot and comfortable. So I can't wait to learn about this.
You know, it's interesting you say that because this is our third ugly shoe? We've done Crocs, we've done Uggs. And
Converse. We've done four.
Converse.
This is our fourth shoe.
This is our fourth shoe, but shoe brands are big. People feel obviously very strongly about shoes. And I will say that as a spoiler, Hoka's are now owned by Deckers, which owns Uggs. And Tevas, another iconic ugly shoe.
Oh, I didn't realize shoes were also in that world where they're just getting gobbled up by like larger corporations that just have a big portfolio of shoes. Interesting.
Yeah, so after seeing a picture, you think they're hideous.
Yeah.
You're not alone. I read one article, it was a New York Times article, somebody who's like a fashion writer was talking about how when they first saw them, they like swore they would never wear them. And then it took like a year of like seeing them kind of on the streets of Manhattan and seeing like all these chic, fashion-y kind of people wear them. And then eventually they ended up calling their dad and saying like, okay, you're not going to believe me saying that I am getting Hoka's, because her dad loved Hoka's. So it's like, I first saw Hoka's on, as I mentioned in the cold open, my 75-year-old father-in-law. He was the first person I saw wearing Hoka's.
John Neer
is the first person I saw wearing Hoka's. And then since then, I'm seeing them on lots of cool people, cool cafe types, people sipping cappuccinos outside of cafes. That's the coolest thing you can do.
Well, that's how I make most of my fashion choices. I go to a cafe and see what the cool cafe people are wearing.
For there to be so much overlap between cafe people and grandpas, I can't even think of another. God, maybe Crocs. Crocs might be the other one that has that much overlap.
When you said chefs, that's what made me think that you had forgotten that we had already done an episode on Crocs and that we were doing Crocs again.
Crocs are so good that they could have 2 episodes.
True, and I could see chefs wearing Crocs because a kitchen is so dirty and you're splishing and splashing.
I don't know. The holes feel like you're going to spill like marinara sauce in there.
But if you do, you can just hose it down. These Hoka's or whatever, they don't look like shoes you want to hose down.
They are actually water resistant, yeah. So we'll get into a little bit of the history because they do have a pretty interesting history. And I'm curious for people listening, if you like Hoka's, have you never heard of them? Is this the first time you're hearing of them? Or are they kind of growing on you? Or are you like a loyalist? Because it feels like very few people, it seems, try them and don't like them. So if you think you don't like them, you're just on a certain point in the Hoka timeline, okay? You're at the beginning. They'll start to grow on you. Eventually, you'll try a pair, and then you'll love them. That's the path we're all on.
Are you getting kickback from Hoka's? Why
I'm
are you
telling
pushing
you,
Hoka's so
I should.
hard?
I went from hating them, thinking they were so hideous, and then after like looking at 100 pictures of them, I'm like, oh, I think I found a style that I actually think is kind of fun.
You don't have a pair?
No, but I am interested. They're quite pricey. They're $150.
I just saw one. The first one I pulled up was $275.
They have a range. They have like marathon runnery ones, and then like the kind of everyday styles. They have hiking boots now, so they have a range. Now they have a lot of different styles. Not quite as many as like Nike or Reebok, but they've expanded their portfolio quite a bit.
So they have a range in like materials and probably price points, but the one overall brand aesthetic is that they will all be ugly.
That is the unifying factor, yes.
Okay. And I would just like to throw out a quick disclaimer. If you are a brand freak and you love these shoes, I'm going to make fun of them. It's nothing personal.
Yes.
Don't stop listening to the show. That's what's so great about On Brand. There's going to be brands we all love and hate, but I will probably continue to hate these.
Well, and that's what's so fun about being brand loyal is like there's nothing you could say that should make anybody not like their Hoka's. Like if you like something that people think is ugly, like...
Oh, I'm not worried about them not liking their Hoka's. I'm worried about not liking us. They'll stay with the Hoka's before they stay with me.
They're not brand loyal to you.
Yeah.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
So the story of Hoka's begins in the French Alps in 2009 when Nico Mermaud, Jean-Luc Dayard, and this is a really good French accent, right, Al? Al speaks French. Christophe Abounet. Is that good, Al? I get a thumbs up from our French speaker. Set out to design running shoes for rugged mountain races in the Alps, Pyrenees, and Dolomites. So these are nature boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of nature people too. We like to go hiking.
We hike.
We forged rivers a couple weeks ago.
We really did. That was a fun hike.
It makes me think that maybe you could benefit from a little shoe upgrade.
I was thinking about that. I actually have a water shoe that I don't know why. I didn't realize how much time we were going to spend in the water on that hike.
And you were wearing like floppy shoes with busted soles with holes in them, like flappy rubber soles.
No, not on the...
Oh, not on the water one?
No, I was wearing just like $5 Target slippies.
$5 Target slippies for crossing like 8-foot wide rivers.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot more water walking than I expected.
Well, maybe they'll send us some HOKAs for this episode. So the super thick, cushiony sole, because you notice, like when you look at them, the first thing you notice is that heel is like
it's
a
like
platform.
2/3 heel.
It
it's
really
like
is.
all sole.
So that was based on the oversized kind of technology that they're thinking of being successful with, like mountain bike wheels and like tennis rackets, where it was like make the point of contact as big and squishy as possible.
Okay.
They're going for the squish factor.
Okay.
So early in their development, Mermaud, Dayard, and Abuneh, they considered making a downhill only. I thought this was kind of funny because it's a dumb idea, and like the shoe ended up being so good, but like this was a dumb idea. A downhill only slip-on overshoe that you could carry in your backpack on uphill sections. And then when you're going downhill, you slip on these big squishy overshoes to just run downhill.
I mean, I gotta say, as someone who doesn't love physical activity, but sometimes I'll do it, like I don't love going up a mountain and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait till we're going down. But going down is sometimes harder than going up.
Going down is a lot harder. Going down it can be pretty hard.
Going down is fun, but hard.
If you're doing it right. So they created this lightweight working prototype, and then they realized, okay, it shouldn't be an accessory. It shouldn't be like an overshoe. We should just make like a real running shoe, and one that would feel very bouncy, and they put a rocker in the midsole. So this like rocker in the midsole is kind of like what makes a HOKA, and it gave runners momentum. So like while you're running, you have like a bounce that takes you into the next step. So as somebody personally, I am like physically unable to run. I don't know if have we talked about running on the pod before?
No, but I am physically unable to jump. So maybe we should compare those two things.
I feel like these shoes might help with jumping because they're very springy.
Well, yeah, if they've got a rocker in the midsole.
So in like middle school, we would have to run cross country, which is whatever length that is. I don't know what it is. It would be 3 laps around the track. We'd have to do it every Friday. And the maximum time that they could even fathom this would take is 20 minutes. Some kids did it like 12 minutes, 14 minutes, whatever, but they had a big timer that would count down for 20 minutes. And they're like, well, obviously everyone's going to finish in 20 minutes. I swear, there was not one time that I didn't finish my 3rd lap, huffing and puffing, side aches, sweating, about to keel over. The clock is gone. The PE teacher's gone. All the kids are back inside, changing out of their PE clothes. And I am like just barely crossing the finish line. Why?
It shocks me. You seem like someone that would be able to run.
I feel like I should be able to run. And it's not like everybody was like super athletic in my school. It was like all kinds, all shapes, all sizes. And for some reason, my body is like, if we lived in like hunter-gatherer times, I would be eaten by a puma.
Yeah, wow.
Did you run in school?
Babe, look at me. No, I was terrible at all those things. The 50-yard
We talked about
dash,
the physical fitness test.
physical fitness thing I was terrible at. The presidential thing. Nope, I was terrible at all of it. You know what I was good at?
What?
Sales. My dad would go to put like a store like Costco and buy me like lollipops in bulk, and then I would sell them kind of loosely under the guise that it was for something.
Loosely? Like, what would you say?
I wouldn't say
They're
anything.
like, is this for money for you to go to basketball camp? And you're like, kind of.
Instead of yes or no, I just go, But I did that for quite a while, selling candies, until finally a teacher did ask me, like, what are you selling these for? And I was like,
profit?
And they made me shut down my biz.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I became a vampire. The rest is history.
So they named their shoe HOKA One One.
Oh, God.
So it's spelled like the number 1,
Like it sounds.
O-N-E, but it's actually pronounced One One. So that's after the Maori phrase, which loosely means fly over the earth. So it's an homage to the New Zealand heritage of adventure racing. But they've kind of phased out the One One. So now if you like look it up, it's just pretty much HOKA all over the place. So it's August 2009. The founders want to test their shoes at the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc in France, which is a 106-mile race that takes anywhere between 20 and 46 hours.
That's insane. My friend Sean is a runner, and he is, in the last year, at least once attempted a 100-mile race, and I can't even comprehend.
Can you imagine?
He's doing it again in March. Like, it's a level I just don't understand.
It sounds insane.
I live 1 block from Trader Joe's. I would be lying if I said that I don't drive there sometimes. A block.
Have you ever walked there?
Yes. Don't be mean.
I'm just asking. Well, especially grocery shopping.
It's a fair question because you don't know what you're going to be bringing up the hill.
Certainly not at Trader Joe's.
Not at Trader Joe's.
You can't go with just like 1 bag.
But no part of me is like, God, I gotta run 100 miles. I don't care how many days it takes.
It's known as the most mythical and prestigious trail running race in the world. And I did look at videos of it, and it is stunning.
I believe it. I would love to drive it with you.
We'll be on the sidelines handing out cups of Gatorade.
Just honking, trying to get all the runners out of our way. Cranking the new Beyonce.
It's stunning. I mean, we have to go to France.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mentioned that to you a few days ago. I'm like, John, I'm dying to go to France. My theme for my bedroom as a child was France.
Wow. I never knew you had that. Again, learning so much about you.
I had that Eiffel Tower lamp from Z Gallery. That was a big special purchase. I think maybe a birthday present.
Wow, that's nice. We'll get there. With our second pod paycheck. We'll go to France.
We'll go to France.
We'll do a French brand.
Ooh.
Au bon point. Wait, that might be an American mall brand. But, we'll figure it out.
Yo play.
Yo play.
So they went to that trail. That was kind of like to test their shoes, to see how the shoes hold up in like the most punishing conditions, 106-mile race. And word starts to spread. So it wasn't so much of a runaway success.
Did you do a pre-written joke? Did you do a pre-written joke?
I did.
That felt like it. Solid.
But there's this fan base, and I guess in the runner community, there's a lot of chatter. So people start kind of spreading the word. It's like a slow burn. Some ultra trail runner friends of the brand, they wore the shoe, and they would place first and second in the races in 2009. And then from there, people started to really wonder, like, what are these ugly shoes?
Where can I get these ugly shoes?
So in 2010 was when they first hit the shelves, and they were like self-funded. This was like very low budget. It was them going to like trade shows and like visiting running stores. This was very much like a self-made brand.
It feels like something that would have been on Shark Tank at some point.
It does, yeah.
Especially when it was like a slip-on. And then there were sharks would be like, why is it a slip-on? Have you thought about licensing this
the
out
cushion
to the
technology
shoe companies?
They always want to license everything.
Well, yeah, it makes it easier.
So lazy.
And you just sit at home and get money.
That does sound nice. So I don't know if you remember what the running scene was. Even as not connected to the running scene as I am, you have to remember. You're part of the running scene, right?
You don't know if I remember what the running scene was when.
When I say this, I bet you'll remember, because this is how much the running scene. This is like Miranda.
What's a running scene?
No, listen. This is like Miranda Priestley saying like cerulean blue.
Oh.
You don't think like you're a part of that world, but let me tell you, surely you remember the sneakers that had the toes.
Oh, they look like socks?
Yes.
Of everything that I hate, those have to be in the top 5. Everything about them, the way they look, my picturing how I have to clean them out, like it's just all disgusting.
I don't want to see the toes separate. Honestly, my perfect foot might have no toes.
Yeah, no, those are terrible. So what does that have to do? That's the running scene?
So at the time when Hokas were kind of like trying to find their footing, whoa, impromptu pun. Love that. The trend was this like barefoot running style in the running community. Like the consensus was just that like the closer you could get to the earth, the better. And we still see people sometime when we're like hiking, we'll see people running up a mountain barefoot. And so there was this guy who had a book called Born to Run, which encouraged runners to feel the ground underneath them, run barefoot. So shoes were all designed to be as minimalistic as possible. There was this brand Nike Free, which was like part of that movement. And then I'm like, oh my God, I had a pair of Nike Frees in 2009. So I guess I'm part of the running community.
We're part of the running scene. Can I throw this in just while I'm thinking about it?
Yeah.
Have you seen Kanye West's new shoes that came out in the last 2 weeks? It's his first shoe that has come out since he had a falling out with his shoe company.
I haven't seen it, but he has worn some truly heinous shoes over the years.
It's a black sock with like 2 pads stuck underneath it. It looks like something you made in a craft school. And apparently they were originally like $280, and then they came out and they're already down to $20.
Oh my God.
They are the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen.
You're just seeing what you can get away with at that point.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
wild.
stupid.
That just goes to show there's an audience for every kind of shoe.
Yeah.
Like, try your hardest to design the ugliest shoe you can think of, and somebody will be like, I'll give you $180 for that.
And again, if you're listening to the show right now and you've slipped into your little toe shoes, we love you. We just hate your shoes.
So this was like in stark contrast to that. Like, just, you know how we think about like fashion, like trends, they go in opposites. You know what I mean? The jeans are skinny, then the jeans are wide. The shoes are pared down minimalistic. Then now the shoes are chunky. So people are kind of like taken aback by this chunky shoe. It feels like it goes in opposition to everything they've kind of been believing, like that shoes are supposed to be like invisible, basically, like they barely exist.
Okay.
So the founders, as I mentioned, they're trying to land these accounts at running stores. They're going to like trade shows. So this company, the Boulder Running Company, placed an order of 770 sneakers. This is their like first big deal, this like first influential account where they're finally scaling. They're finally selling like more than just like a pair of shoes here and there. Within just a few years, it is estimated now that between 40 to 60% of runners wear HOKAs.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
HOKA devotees are so evangelical about the shoes. They're recommended to anybody, runners who have like knee problems, plantar fasciitis, to just like people who spend all day on their feet. And that's where they started to really try to market to like the mail carriers, the healthcare workers, the chefs. Anybody who can benefit from giving their feet cushioning from all day on a hard surface, which is, unless you're sitting at a desk all day, that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what'd be good with our show?
What?
I know we've kind of like thought about like, hey, I wonder how maybe we could work with brands to do this, but you can't really have a brand give you stuff because then it's like it's compromising.
You're not
doing
allowed
the
to
show.
say it's ugly.
Maybe there is a way on episodes like this where one of us thinks the brand is dumb or ugly.
Interesting.
They try to win us over.
I love
like
that.
I get a big package of all these ugly shoes this week and I start wearing them and then I decide maybe I don't hate them.
That'd be fun, like Battle of the Ugliest, where you wear like Uggs for a week, Crocs for a week, Hokas for a week, Tevas for a week, toe shoes for a week, and then you like battle them out. Like, what's the best ugly shoe?
Well, maybe that's our next brand battle.
So they're starting to spread. They're getting more popular. 2013, Deckers Brands, which I mentioned earlier, they're the parent company for UGG, Teva, and a few other footwear brands. They buy HOKA for $1 million.
That's it?
That's it. At that point, HOKA had only had $2 million in sales. So this is a bold move, but they're getting it for a deal.
I mean, honestly, buying almost any company in the world for $1 million seems like a steal.
That you think they should have asked you?
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I don't have $1 million, but that just seems like, I mean, to me, obviously it's a lot of money, but to buy a company, that seems like very little money.
I think for them, it was like, it's a big risk. You know what I mean? They're spending $1 million. The shoe hasn't like taken off in any gigantic way.
They're ugly.
They're ugly. They're hideous.
Wow.
And I'll say, last year, their annual revenue was over $1.5 billion.
Oh my God. Are those poor Frenchies kicking themselves?
That's a good investment. Well, they're still making money. They're still like CEO.
Oh.
They're still running the company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
they're still doing great.
It's a win-win.
If you look up Hokas, you look them up online, because this is kind of like Stanley. These shoes have like an evangelical following, split down the middle between like thinking they're dumb and stupid and overpriced, and then like being obsessed with them. So if you Google, we talked about this before, Googling Hokas changed my life, you will not believe how many articles come up. And if you Google pre-fill like Hokas are, the things that come up are Hokas are ugly, Hokas are too big, Hokas are squeaky.
Squeaky.
I guess they're squeaky. It's like there's like dual life for Hokas. Like
Right.
you're either in one camp or the other.
Right.
Somebody said on Reddit, they said they had a funny story in this subreddit called TIFU. Do you know what that is? Today I effed up.
Oh.
And this woman describes that she bought a pair of Hokas. She said she always thought they were like grandma, healthcare worker. She said Range Rover track mom, which I feel like they are kind of that.
They look very nursey.
Very nursey, but then also kind of like yoga mom with 10 kids kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're also really expensive. So she decided to go give them a try because she's on her feet all day. She said, I'll just return them if they're bad. She fell in love with them. And within 2 to 3 wears, she has not worn a different shoe since. She says, unfortunately, I think I joined a cult in the process. I live in a pretty hostile city, and I have rarely been approached in public before this. She says, over the last few weeks, I've been stopped on the street several times to make small conversations about mundane things. This is my worst nightmare, as I strongly prefer being left alone. I've also been getting pleasant smiles and hellos as I walk around town, all from other HOKA wearers.
Oh, no.
She says, today was the worst of all. I was coming home after a doctor's appointment with unpleasant news and was very distracted. HOKA wearer 595 started talking to me about some random wall art that's been there for as long as I can remember at an intersection, and I nearly walked into a car. This cannot be a coincidence. I feel like I am unwillingly putting out the aura that I am fun and approachable just by wearing these shoes. I am not. I need these Hokas in my life, but this seems like a very heavy price to pay.
Was that signed by Alistair? That sounds like a very Alistair review of these shoes.
I think that's very interesting that people perceive somebody who wears Hokas, because they do come in like bright colors. They have neutral ones too, black and white, but a lot of the ones are very bold and splashy. They're kind of putting off a vibe that you're a certain type of friendly person. Somebody responded to that comment and they said, I'm just a fat slob with flat feet and some physiological problems. Podiatrist told me to get Hokas to go with my inserts, and now it feels like I'm always walking on a memory foam mat. I've been told by many people now how much they love their Hokas, completely unsolicited. So if you wear Hokas, this is a risk you pay. People will start talking to you. You'll be part of the Hoka community, and people will just feel comfortable talking to you on the sidewalk.
You'll have to be okay with engaging.
Yeah.
And I will say this. I joked earlier, not even really joked, that I'm not a car person. I don't like 90% of the cars. A big part of that is how boring cars are. Like, so many of them are gray or black or white. They always remind me, like, I can't tell the difference between a Honda and a Toyota. They all just look the same to me. And it kind of reminds me of that scene in Finding Nemo, where all the big, like, gray worker fish go by, and there's just, like, everything's just the same. It's just utilitarian. And that's how
sounds like you're talking yourself into a big, bright, ugly shoe. Certainly can't miss these in the crowd.
Well, I have found my foot expression through, like, Converse, and I will give Hoka that. I like anything that gives people, like, a pop of color or something that brightens their day and makes them feel good about themselves. So I admire that. I think Swatch does that with their fun watches. Converse does that with their shoes. So I will give them a star for that. I like that they're not afraid of color.
Yes, I think it might be, you might have more of an issue with, like, the big blocky foamness of them.
I'm, like, kind of a design snob in a way, or a design snob in the way that I just like design that I like. And they're just, again, for me, overcomplicated.
I also don't see you as an athleisure kind of guy.
Wow.
I mean, do you wear athleisure?
No. I don't. I bought my first pair. Wait, are sweatpants athleisure?
I think, yeah, they can be athleisure.
I bought my first pair of sweatpants, like, I don't know, in the last year or two.
Which is so funny because you sleep in, like, jeans, as we've mentioned.
Sometimes. I don't always sleep in jeans.
Which is funny because, like, I feel like the plus of, like, athleisure is that it does kind of translate really well into, like, evening, cozy. Sure, if you fall asleep in your athleisure, that's basically pajamas. You prefer to fall asleep in a pair of jeans.
Yeah, I don't like the coziness of a sweatpant. I will sometimes sleep in a sweatpant if I'm super cold, and I have to get them off as soon as I wake up.
Are you kidding?
I don't like to lounge around all day in a floppy sweatpant.
Why?
I like a tight pant.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe...
You like a hard, tight waistband?
Wait, what?
Like a crunchy waistband and, like, crunchy material as opposed to, like, the supple juiciness of fleece?
Well, I mean, jeans have changed so much. No matter what, when I buy jeans now, it's like they're maternity pants. Like, the waist is all stretchy, which has been wonderful because I was of the generation where I'd, like, jump up and down to try to button my pants or, like, flop on the bed. And now it's like, everything just stretches around
Have
me.
you gone into full jegging yet where there's pretend pockets and no button?
No.
No zipper?
No. I don't take it off the table, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, no, I'm not. A very long way to answer your question. No, I don't wear
When was the last time you slept in pants and socks and shoes?
I mean...
When?
I feel like it's been in the last couple of weeks.
Why? I can't think of anything worse.
I lounged around all day yesterday, and I was in boxers a lot of the day, and then I wanted to take a nap. I put pants on to take the nap.
Puts jeans
I
on
think
to
it's
take
because
a
I
nap.
just like it's almost like I like to be swaddled. Maybe I'm like it's a baby thing that I never outgrew.
I don't know. I think you need leggings.
No. I'm doing me the way I do.
This
me.
is highly unusual behavior. So that's all I have on Hoka's. They're, as I mentioned, they're worth billions of dollars. Every year they're like breaking their previous record of how many they sell. And I honestly might be dropping a few pennies in the Hoka pocket. I might be buying a pair. Next time you see me, I might have a disgusting pair of Hoka's on.
Well, I will definitely be posting this in like a Hoka subreddit and hope that Hoka will reach out to me and try to win me over. Hoka, send me a free pair and show me how great they are.
Okay, this is a challenge.
Something bright and colorful. Are they famous enough that people are trying to imitate them? Like, are there Hoka imitators?
I think that they've inspired style, like changing styles, like Saucony and Nike. They're kind of taking inspiration from now Hoka's because they're such a disruptor.
They kind of remind me, and correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe you don't know, there was a time years and years ago where I felt like Skechers was kind of a coolish shoe, and then overnight they turned into a really ugly, like this kind of shoe. Like I felt like they got very thick. Again, if you're a brand freak and you wear Skechers, no offense.
What happened with Skechers?
I don't know. They became like comfortable nursing shoes. It's like they completely rebranded. And maybe I'm making that up. This is literally me just passing the Skechers table at Macy's over the years. Like, I was like, oh, those are kind of cool, to like, what the hell is that?
There could be something said though, like trying to compete in the like the cool shoe market is like so hard and you have to constantly be evolving. Whereas like competing in the like comfy shoe market, like there are so many people who are on their feet all day for work or whatever. And if you can just like get that market,
right,
then you're probably doing pretty well.
What's one of your favorite shoes from your past? For me, I loved Ruse. And a lot of people may not remember what Ruse are, but they were a very like hip, cool brand in like the 80s, maybe early 90s, where it was like a sneaker that looked like any other sneaker, like a whatever, like a K-Swiss. People probably don't even know what that is. A Puma or Reebok or whatever. But they had a little zippered, Velcroed pocket on the side. And I just love somewhere where I can stick a little knick-knack, a little something, carry a little contraband somewhere throughout school, put a lifesaver in or something. And I had so many pairs of kangaroos.
You've always had a hard candy on your person.
I've always had, yeah.
Do you have a hard candy with you right now?
No, but I almost did grab a roll of my cinnamon things, but no, I don't right now. But I just like to have little pockets. I used to wear a hat. It had a little pocket in the hat. And I used to love to see how many, my goal was to carry everything in that pocket that anyone might ask me for.
That is hilarious.
I would keep one condom, a pack of sugar, a pack of ketchup, a pack of mustard, gum, mints, a toothpick. Literally, I had like 25 things. And you would not believe, you could not tell how much stuff I had in there. It was like a clown show. Whenever I was like at a party or something, like, do you want to see what's in my hat? And I would just start pulling things out of it.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So what was your favorite shoe?
I had a pair in elementary school of silver glitter encrusted boots.
Ooh.
And it was one of those like bold fashion choices where like I'm shopping with my mom and I'm kind of like, man, nobody in my class is wearing these, but I feel really like I need them and like they're me, like on like a deep level. But you're making a risk there, right? Like showing up to school with a bold fashion choice in like 5th grade.
Yeah.
That's
like,
rough.
If you get a look from anyone, like early on, you're like, God, I want to cut my legs off.
I want to
put them in my locker.
I made the bold move of wearing them to school, and they left so much glitter on the rug. I remember the teacher being like, God damn it, like, where's all this glitter coming from? And like around my desk, just like a sea of glitter, and like humiliated, but also like, I think I got enough like cred from my friends. Like I didn't get that bad look. I got a little bit like, okay, those are actually pretty cool. And I stuck with them, but a lot of glitter on the carpet in 5th grade.
It's funny you say that. So I'm openly gay. I don't know if you know
are?
that. I know.
Wow.
But I've never wanted to do drag or dress like a woman or anything. But there's something about a knee-high boot that I'm almost jealous that I can't wear that. Like Taylor Swift on her tour goes through all these freaking amazing boots.
Yes.
I just think there's something, it's such a cool look. Like a woman in like a tall boot. I think boots are very cool.
You want a knee-high boot?
I don't. I know what I would look like in it. But if I were to
do drag,
I would want to be Johnny Boots.
Bootsy galore.
And I also went through a penny loafer phase,
Oh,
a heavy,
yes.
and that might maybe because of Michael Jackson, because he wore that type of shoe. But I wore shiny penny loafers with a shiny penny in each shoe.
Ooh, I love that. That's a penny loafer. That's similar to a pocket, like holding a plate, like a little penny.
I've always got to have somewhere to put just throw a coin. I need to have hidden money on my person.
You used to, I mean, not to say back in my day, but back in my day, you could get a gumball for a penny. You really could.
I mean, I could get a gumball in my bedroom. I have a gumball machine.
Shoes are fun. Shoes are very personal. What, comment your favorite shoe you had growing up. What's a shoe you love? Were you a penny loafer? I went through a saddle shoe phase. So, let us know.
Jellies. Did you ever do jellies? My sisters wore jellies, and those were like cute little clear shoes for girls, but man, oh man, did they stink.
Stink and yellow. And make blisters.
Yeah, they were not a practical shoe. Oh my God, speaking of stinky shoes, oh my God, I got a pair of thrift store shoes that were like, they kind of look like a loafer, but they were like plastic, did not breathe at all, made my feet, the only shoes I've ever had that made my feet smell. And it just happened to be during a time when I lived in a very small dorm room with a roommate. And I would clomp back into the room and slip off those shoes, and I could smell them. And I felt so bad knowing that this poor guy, and he was way too nice to ever say anything.
Oh my God. Ugh. Ballet flats are coming back in style. And my memory of ballet flats is that you wear them without socks, and like just how quickly those stink.
Are those
so
a little
nasty.
ballerina those black little
with a little bow? It'll be kind of like look like a little ballet slipper. And those were in style like mid 2000s, and they're starting to come back again. And my memory is just like absolutely reeking stinky foot to the max.
Yeah. Well, you have a little girl. You're gonna be able to go through all the shoe phases, all the trends over the next 15 years.
I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Maybe Hoka's for a 5-year-old.
Those are too expensive to buy, but if we were to be gifted. Some...
I certainly wouldn't turn them down. Ship them to Russell Ave.
Ship them to Karen McFly at Russell Avenue. Make sure they go with whatever color Old Navy pants I've already sent to her home.
God,
well, this has been
so
very
tragic.
fun for a brand that I knew absolutely nothing about, that I considered kind of ugly. This has been a very fun and informative and reminiscent show.
Yeah, and keep your peepers open for Hoka's on the street. And be especially friendly to anybody you see wearing a pair of Hoka's, because that's what they're giving off.
Yeah. Oh, and before we go, I don't have a brand news, but I have a brand news. Brand aid, I think this actually is.
Great.
I don't know if you've heard the news going around about Sephora in the last couple of weeks.
Enlighten me.
So Sephora hit a very big milestone. They reached in 2023 $10 billion in sales.
Wow.
It's enormous, like an unimaginable amount of sales. So to celebrate
That's
this,
a lot of lip gloss, toots. It's a lot of lip gloss, toots.
that's a lot of lip gloss, toots. So to celebrate this milestone,
That's like a fat cat businessman, like being dismissive of like the business success of like a store primarily caters to women. You know what I mean? That's that character. You get it?
no, I
Okay,
appreciate.
good.
Yeah, now that you now it makes more sense. It's a lot richer of an interruption than it was before.
Great. I may do it again.
No, perfect. No, you should. That's what this is all about. So they hit this milestone and they sent these packages to some of the stores that said, "We are thrilled to share that Sephora in North America hit a record $10 billion in sales. We've shattered multiple records. It was our biggest Black Friday ever. It's the highest traffic day ever recorded, and all of these things." And then at the bottom it says, "Inside this box, you'll find a sweet treat to share with your team." Inside each box was 20 cookies, 20 individually wrapped cookies that just said, "We did it" on it. So a lot of people that work at Sephora are just going to social media to express their disdain for, okay, so you're telling us that because of us, you've reached this milestone of $10 billion. And your way of thanking us is sending us a box of cookies, not even a cookie for everyone that works in the store. A lot of people have reported that the cookies are stale.
Of course.
It's just this sad little cookie in the cellophane. So I was thinking this is definitely a brand aid moment. It's like, that's so much money.
Yeah.
Like I would assume you don't even have to give them cash. Give them $100, give everyone $100 gift card. They have 43,000 employees. That's a lot of money, but it's still a drop in the bucket to like what they're earning.
They certainly shouldn't be like breaking an old stale cookie into eighths. Definitely not. I feel like I know this cookie. When you say cookie individually wrapped in cellophane, I know how stale that cookie is because I feel like I've had that.
I mean, I don't. Oh God, you're really twisting my arm here. I know it too because I got it in my Emmy gift bag.
Oh, okay.
We
Here
also
we go.
got the individually wrapped stale cookie. It just said Emmys on it. But...
So when you get the individually wrapped stale cookie, you're not getting it for the taste. It's like it is in itself an award, the individually wrapped stale cookie, because you only get it if you have done some like incredible personal achievement, like won an Emmy or helped your company you work for reach 10 million. So they're thinking of it like a trophy more than something you eat, which I think is also bad.
And then there was a sticker on the wrapper that said, "We did it,
terrible.
$10 billion. Thank
terrible.
you. Don't be late for work tomorrow." So I don't know. It just seemed like a misstep. I don't shop at Sephora. I always thought one cool thing about Sephora was, my understanding is they have 2 different colors of shopping baskets. If you take one color, it means do not ask me any questions. I just want to shop on my own. If you have another one, it's feel free to help me. I think that's brilliant.
It is a good idea.
So I don't want to completely trash them, but this seems like a big misstep.
You know what else we love about Sephora? Very generous return policy.
Oh, really? You can bring back a dusty old lip gloss with like hairs in it?
Yeah, and like nearly empty. But they also have had some issues with like their rewards program over the years has been getting worse and worse. So they do need some brand day. What should Sephora do for brand day? Let's brainstorm for a second, because we are self-proclaimed marketing geniuses.
I think $100 is a great threshold to where it makes someone feel like, wow, okay, $100 is a decent amount of money.
Yeah. $100 gift card to Sephora or $100 cash.
I mean, if they wanted to be cheap, $100 gift card to Sephora.
Which would still be fun.
If they wanted to not be cheap, a $100 Visa gift card or one of those where you can just spend it anywhere.
I have a really hard time spending Visa gift cards, and I've gotten a few over the years. To me, they don't translate as any form of currency. I don't know why I cannot for the life of me spend them. I've gotten a few of them like for birthdays or whatever from family, and they're in my wallet and I'm like scared to spend them. And
just give them to me.
I know you won't use them because you also have a hard time with gift cards.
Okay, I'm notorious for never using gift cards. I have a whole weird thing about it.
Yeah,
Shocking.
Tell everybody what your weird thing is, because you haven't talked about it on the pod.
Okay, so I do have, it is hard for me to use a gift card because I live in Los Angeles. It's kind of a feast or famine city. I work in the biz. Sometimes you're working a lot, making nice money. Sometimes you don't work for a very long time. So gift cards I see as like, one day I will probably be without a home and no income, but I will still have this pile of gift cards.
So you're going through, it's like Radio Shack.
Yeah.
Circuit City.
That is my rule. When a business is going out of business, if I have a gift card for that, I do go use it. I did with Circuit City.
What'd you buy?
By that point, everything was taken and I just got stupid cables. I was so mad at myself. And I got those stupid ones that have like gold plating because it says things sound better. God, what a stupid purchase.
It tells you like the zips can like zip through even faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Dipped in real gold.
That would be my brand day. Give them some sort of monetary compensation.
You know, you're right. Cash is king. You can't compete with the green stuff.
That's what I was trying to say. And there you go. Sephora, if you're listening, give your employees some cash.
$100. You could do it.
There's your brand aid. Okay. So before we go, I want to throw 2 things out there. One, I have received a sign-off that I'm responding very well to.
Ooh, it's testing well with Jon.
It's testing well with me. I've kind of run it through my head for a couple of days. It was given to us by one of Alistair's friends, and this is not nepotism in any way. I don't know him. His name is Mark. I'm bringing this up now because I'm going to try the sign-off today as a sign-off. I don't want to get there and then be like, okay, and now we're going to try this, and we're just going to do it. And I want to say next week's episode is a different kind of episode. Marisa doesn't know what's different about it.
I'm terrified.
If you're a brand freak, I think it'll be fun. There's just something a little different about it. Okay. So be sure to tune in next week for something just a little bit different. And we're going to try a new sign off when we get off here in a minute and see how that plays.
Well, I can't wait for both of these things, soft launch of your sign off and the special mystery episode. We will end the show by saying thank you everybody for listening. If you like the show, please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us out. Leave a lovely, kind review. Positive reviews only is our rule.
Yeah, it's fair.
Check us out on Instagram at OnBrandThePod or TikTok at OnBrandThePodcast. You can see clips from the show. You can engage with us there. We love to chat with the brand freaks. Send us some messages. If there's a brand you want us to talk about or any thoughts about the episode, any thoughts about HOKAs, we would love to hear from you guys. And we will be back next week with an all-new episode of On Brand.
Yes, like she said, thank you so much for listening. And always remember, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Shopify's point of sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments in person? We've got you covered. How about card readers you can rely on anywhere you sell?
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep, that too. Want one place to manage all your online and in-person sales? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.